My name is Ravi Kabra. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Skippi Ice Pops, as said, India's first ice popsicle brand. I'm going to be talking about resilience today. A very simple, subtle word, usually often used, but always undermined by the power that it brings into your life. A power which somebody embraces can become victorious. A power when somebody neglects can turn the entire story upside down. And of course, with resilience I'm going to talk about, I will also cover its cousin called persistence. Because they go all hand in hand. The persistence is the younger brother, the cousin, who is always doing things every day in and day out, whereas resilience, on the other side, is the big brother who tells him to keep doing it no matter what the results are. This story of the cousins, I would like to bring about with the story of Skippi, the way this brand evolved through my life journey, and the way things have moved forward, the challenges that we have faced, and how typically the two cousins, persistence and resilience, have actually supported us in the way of the way the life has moved on. Dial Me Guru. 20 years back, when I've just moved not out of college, but after doing 10 years of stint with my father's business, I decided to do something on my own. This was a brand that I started, a look-alike, feel-alike brand of Just Dial. And I realized that things are going to be all simple and easy to conquer. Coming out of my father's business, it gave me the confidence, or rather the overconfidence, to believe that life is going to be all simply served on a silver platter. And there I did the biggest mistake of my life. I started Dial Me Guru with a lot of energy which flowed into the wrong direction. Dial Me Guru scaled up dramatically, but as fast as it scaled, it literally died down the fastest to what I can believe was the biggest mistake in terms of my professional career that I could make. Now this brought me to a place, a situation in life where even the Guptaji's uncle and his beta started to tell me how to do business. Even the person next door who had never been in a business decided to tell me how to do business. A little failure, and this particular failure, took away my pride, my ego, my self-respect, and a lot more things that has gone wrong. But this was a time where I decided that I need to move on. And that brings me to a phrase, a very important part of my life, a phrase which I never forget, which I keep repeating myself. And that is a clear undermining definition of resilience. The phrase is, and you got to think about it as well, today is the first day of the rest of your life. I'll repeat it again. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. For people who understand that they've done something so terribly wrong that can never bring back the life together, this is the phrase I always wanted to quote. Because I believe that no matter what mistakes I have done in my life, the resilience which comes into this phrase kept me moving on and on. No matter whether this wasn't the greatest part of my life, I decided to consider that as the first day of my life and move on from there. So what happened? This failure pushed me out of India. I said, okay, let me take a break. Let me move out of India. I decided not to work for myself, but rather to work for some good companies, learn something, and bring that knowledge, that experience back to India and start something afresh. Of course, while I was away in Australia with my family, things were not that easy. Because a person who's been an entrepreneur for a long time, working with someone has always been difficult. That's where I realized that this resilience can only be built when I can continue to perceive every day as a learning exercise for myself. And then, after 6 years of living abroad, I thought, let's me do something exciting, and I decided to move back to India with an idea, a simple idea of making ice popsicles. Of course, everyone thinks that what's there in an ice popsicle, right? It's a very simple thought, a simple product to serve and to make a good business. But a lot goes into it. What you see on the screen is me and my wife, Anuja, my wife and my co-founder, taking the first batch of Skippi in our humble factory, in our production plant in Hyderabad. That's a little team of ours, me standing somewhere there in the corner. And at the bottom of the screen, that's my office 2.5, 3 years back. A very humble beginning where we decided to do everything on our own. We packed the products ourselves. We produced the products ourselves. We wanted to do everything on our own. In the initial days, it was not at all easy. Most of the big giants in India, the supermarkets of Hyderabad, were not so welcoming to us because they were not very sure if that was going to be a good product for them to put on the shelves or not. But we continued to perceive a path which made us understand that we have to show resilience in terms of all the rejections, all the setbacks that we were getting in the market. Within no time, I would say a couple of weeks down the line, we realized that all the supermarkets of Hyderabad decided to onboard us. And that was a turning point where we decided to go faster and faster into the market. In terms of persistence, a lot of times I get a question asked by a lot of people who are looking to get into startups or being an entrepreneur. How do you do a market research when we don't have funds? And I'll quote you this with an example that when me and Anuja decided to move further into this ice popsicle category, as a founder, both of us stood right in front of a theater, Prasad's IMAX, which we all know of, and we started to do free sampling in a thermocol box to everybody who came out of a movie. Initially, the success was superb. In India, who doesn't like free stuff, right? Everyone grabbed onto an ice pops because it was a hot, sunny afternoon. But then we thought, let's start charging people for it. And that's where we started to charge them $20 for an ice popsicle. Those ice popsicles did not have a label. It did not have a barcode, no FSSI number, but still people decided to buy it. And that gave us a proof of concept. A concept where we believe that people are willing to pay for it, and we continue to move further from there. But the entire courage of going out into the public and standing there and selling like a hawker comes only through resilience. A resilience power which never lets you back down. It always keeps telling you that I need to move on no matter what people think, what customers think. I just need to keep moving forward. What happened after that? When you keep working hard, and I quote this all the time, when you work hard, there is something that comes as a luck. One particular night, we created history by being the first brand on Shark Tank India to receive an all-shark deal. And this was a turning point of our life. Many times I've been told that, Ravi, you have been lucky. I said, yes, probably yes. But do you know what is the definition of luck? Luck is when hard work meets opportunity. I'll repeat that for you. Luck is when hard work meets opportunity. The opportunity was Shark Tank India. The hard work was already there. It was just a time for that hard work to meet an opportunity like a platform called Shark Tank India. We went there. We saw multiple brands getting rejected. I've seen founders crying out of the platform, out of the chute. I've seen founders shouting at the chute. And there, me and Anuja sitting there with an ice popsicle brand, wondering why would anybody even invest into our brand. But with a lot of confidence and with sheer resilience to not deter back, not to back out, we continued to stand there in front of the 5 sharks and pitch in confidence. And with luck or the hard work that we had generated over the last few months, we were granted investment from all the 5, or rather the 6 sharks, and we became the first one to get so. Now what happened after that? I'm sure everybody would agree that life would have been like a hoo-la-la, where we could walk the path of flowers and roses, and things would have been absolutely easy like a cakewalk. But in turn, the life decided to take a turn. Everything changed for us. Over the night, a small little brand, which even not many people in my locality would know, started to become a national brand. and sometimes it does have an adverse effect. An example, a small town in the village, in the forest of Jharkhand, somebody booked an order online and expected that the delivery should happen next day itself. And that was a time when people still had the courage to wait for next day, not for next 10 minutes. But yes, they expected that the delivery happened the next day, and we started to get abused by multiple such activities, events, where people expected us to have an Amazon kind of a supply chain, but unfortunately we did not. We took the heat. We were a small team of just 14 people. We continued our journey to try and work persistently to give a good customer experience. Finally, today, I can tell you very proudly that we have cracked a lot of supply chain issues, we have cracked a lot of product-based issues, and we have achieved a decent position in terms of the ice popsicle industry. After Shark Tank, we today have covered more than 18,000 outlets. We export to more than 7 countries. And we have been the brand which last year sold 2.5 crore ice popsicles alone. That's the way resilience and persistence have actually fueled our business, fueled our startup, and the brand has phenomenally grown. It's always a combination of the great team that you bring in, and as a founder, one needs to understand that as a pilot of the project, of the pilot of the plane, you have no alternative but to look at the positive side of your defeats. You have no alternatives but to look at the positive sides of your defeats. Every day we have faced defeats, every day we have lost, but never was a day where we have backed out completely saying that this is not done, I am not taking it forward. The entire thing always focuses on why did you start it in the initial days? We started it because we wanted to bring fun into the consumer's life. And that particular thought process never allowed us to back off. There has always been a thought which is again very synonym to persistence and resilience. Aim for the skies and you will fall on the treetops. Aim for the skies and you will fall on the treetops. That is exactly we wanted to think about in terms of the way we were growing. We never wanted to conquer the skies, but we were excited that at least if we try to achieve for the skies, we will fall on the treetops. And that is how things moved very positively for us, because the entire attitude was supported by the thought of being resilient. Resilient to any kind of problems, resilient to any kind of issues which happens in our activity. Our team, which was merely 14 people, today is a team of 180 people. A story which started off with merely 400 stores in Hyderabad today serves 18,000 outlets, and we are exporting to countries like UAE, Australia, New Zealand, and many more. The entire activity of handling such a large team depends on the concept of resilience, because if you are backing out, the entire team will lose faith, and the entire agenda or the ambition of bringing fun into your life would actually get diluted. Obviously, in the process, one would always think about what is the achievement that we get after being so resilient, after sacrificing so much. The world will start understanding that your resilience, your sacrifices has always been a part of a journey which end of the day brings a lot of laurels to you, lot of success to you, and end of the day it makes you a person who is very contented, happy about the way you have led your life. It is not the end of the journey for us, we are just beginning off, but we always understand that resilience is the superpower which is always invisible within yourself. Had it not been the resilience of Ratan Tata, has it not been the resilience of Steve Jobs, or has it not been the resilience of Abdul Kalam, I'm sure we would still be sitting in the old age right under a cave. But this has been the resilience. After thousands of failures, Thomas Edison was able to invent so many things. That is why I would say and strongly urge that all of us, whether we are an entrepreneur, a student, a homemaker, or just a person who is living a life great, needs to understand that resilience is the power, a superpower which cannot be ignored, and everyone needs to build the entire resilience arena around your family to make them understand no matter how much you fall, how many times you fall, the importance always lies in getting up, standing up strong, and fighting your odds off. Thank you, one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kabra.